Good morning, welcome back to the farm. It's been a very cold week this week. We've had -3, -2 in the mornings. And this morning we woke up and it's 18 degrees outside, so go figure. You can see the cows and the sheep and I think you can see the pigs in the background there. But this week's update is just about a culmination of some of the activities that I've done in the pig area and trying to get their pasture back to normal, or just fix it up after they've been through, because they're like little bulldozers, as you've seen in other videos, and a few other bits and pieces that we've done during the week. Morning boys, as you can see I'm down with the pigs, and the boys have done their work in this area here, and I've moved them into another break, and I'm going to have a go at cleaning this up and leveling out some of these mounds of, it's basically just grass, dry matter, and it'll all just get composted down. But as you can see down here, there's still quite a few clumps of love grass, which I'm going to have a go at digging out. And down the bottom here is a I don't know what the name of this weed is called, but it's quite a tough grass, and it's like a sharp serrated edge on it. It's not serrated tussock, it's some other sort of tussock, so I'm going to have a go at digging some of them out. There's quite a few there, but while the ground's still moist I'll give it a go, and then I'll sow all this down. I'll probably if I was set up a wee bit better, I should have just contained them in this area here for a bit longer so that they could dig it up, but they're not really interested in this stuff, even though they've dug up in between it. So I'll try that in this next break, which is similar. I'll just bunch them into an area and let them do their work. They might as well do all the hard work. The boys have had their fill, and it's time for resting, isn't it, boys? It's sunbaking. They're just loving life. I've had a good bash at sorting out some of this ground and getting it levelled out a bit so that when you walk through it you don't break your leg, and digging out some of this love grass. So this is a curse of a damn thing, and in our area here it's virtually everywhere, and this grass was brought in by the railways to help contain the batter down along the railway lines, and it certainly does its job, because it clumps up and it has a huge big clump of roots underneath it, and most people around here either poison it or they burn it off at different times of the year, but you're still left with a big clump, and virtually I haven't seen anything growing in the clump while it's decaying, and that could take a long time. So I'll just gradually dig it out as I go along and just continuously put pressure on it, and hopefully eventually then it'll be reduced. You see paddocks are in the district here that are pretty much 70% all love grass, and it's because people just don't get on top of it, and they just poison it every year and it just comes back. It's such an invasive weed. The cattle will eat it and the sheep will eat it only when it's been cut and the new shoots are coming up, but once it gets like that it's too coarse and rank, and they're not interested in it at all. So between the pigs and myself, we'll do a job on this place and try and eradicate some of the love grass around in some of the paddocks. The boys are happy at work over there, digging away, but I've just finished cleaning up as much as I can in this paddock and levelling out all the clumps that they build up. I actually cheated after I broke both the handles on my forks that I like. I got the brush cutter out and I brush cutted all the long stuff and those tussocks. I'll see if I can outcompete them with some new seeds that go in. And then I'll have this break, but the boys haven't done as much damage in this break. They're working their way through it, but there's still a lot there to do, boys. You better get to work. They love all the kikuyu roots and shoots. But now's the time to bring in the irrigator and sow some seed and see what happens over the next month or so. Alrighty, I've got the irrigation now flowing over this area of the pig break that I've cleaned up, and I'm just checking the reach on the sprays they get me. Occasionally walking through the paddock, as this one's going to get me. Yep. But I'll let this now run for 3 hours, and then we'll get some seed into the ground. That's great. Nearly there with getting this sown back down to some nice forage. These boys certainly get a well varied diet. So they've got a few corns that we harvested in the veggie garden, and so they've got the main stalks and some of the corn cobs on the bottoms of them. They certainly get a variety. I was just walking along the veranda and I thought that's a good view of the sprinklers going on the pig area down there, and showing you the differences. You can't see much of the first break down there because the house is in the road, but the difference, you can see 4 distinct areas, and they're all about a month apart because the pigs are in each break for about a month. That looks nice.
The seeding process. I actually think Robert quite likes doing the seeding. Walking around, just throwing out some seed. It's a beautiful day. We've had 3 mornings of frost. We've got about 1 week left of autumn, but it already feels like it's winter. But our days are lovely.
I'm just working out what to do with the pigs breaks. So I've made a decision. The pigs have only got another month and a half with us, so I don't think I'll need this last break. And this is what all the pig breaks looked like when I first moved them into a section. And now the sheep and the Belties and the burger boys are enjoying this bit of grass, and the pigs are still in there. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is their 5th break, and they've still got a bit to do in here. I'd like them to root this up really well. I've got the irrigation sprinklers running on a little bit of this to make it easier for them to break it up. Hello boys, hello. Come and stick their nose up your bum. But this is what it looks like as they're working the ground. Oh, sprinkler's going to get me. And then this is an area where they've come out of, and I've cleaned it up and sewn it back down to a cover crop. And I'll show you the progression. So they're about a month apart in timeline, 4 to 5 weeks in each break, and then I sewn them down, and this is what it looks like after about a month and a bit of them coming out of there. So it's not growing as quick as I'd like it to, but we're having some really cold weather at the moment, so beautiful days, but we're getting frost in the morning, so it's slowed down the growth. It's still growing. There's lots of new grasses and the brassicas coming up and the radishes. Hello, mate. Yeah, having an itch, having a scratch. Eh? And then this is another month in between this break. And not as many brassicas came up, but a lot of the grasses did. And down the bottom where they didn't do as much, you can see it's still a bit long and rank there. And then most of the grass there is nearly up to my knee. And then this area here is what I sowed down first. So they were in this section here November, December, January. They're in this section, and I had a really good striker cover crop in here. And this is, I've actually hand cut all of this, and this is regrowth. And there's peas and brassicas and rape, radishes, all sorts of things. Some of the peas are now seeding. So my thinking is I'll continue cutting this down by hand with a hand scythe, and just so I feed them out a big bucket during the day. And you can see some of the radishes that are growing up in here. And there's lots of these radishes around the place. And my idea is I'll keep cutting it by hand, and then once they're finished in that next break that they're in, I'll move them into here and they can clean this up, and I can sow it down to a warm cover crop after winter. And there's lots of feed in them in there for them to eat. There's lots of peas coming through. Here's another big radish, and they'll love that. They'll just devour them. And then I'll lock it up for the next lot of pigs. Or my thinking is we might plant this out in corn and sunflowers, and see what happens. And I think I'll make the pig experiment movable and move it out into other paddocks. I've got a paddock down the back that really needs the pigs to work on it. So I think they do a great job in repairing the soil, even though they do a huge amount of bulldozing and moving around and renovating, but they make a huge difference in time for soil health. And we put a lot of this cover crop back into the soil because the pigs will trample it and eat it and poo on the ground, and they'll do a great job of repairing this area here. So here's another big radish. It's a monster. So this has been a really good experiment. It took me a while to get my head around having pigs, but I don't see their rooting as doing damage. I see it as repairing a lot of the ground. So a lot of my ideas that I got off Dowdle Family Farms, Robert Dowdle. He does this at scale. I'm only doing it on a small scale, but he's given me lots of good ideas. So if you ever thought of using pigs in your own system, look up Robert Dowdle Family Farms. That's a great resource. There's some other good pig operations but they mainly do commercial stuff. This is just for our own use and some of our friends from the meat production side of things. But I think it'll make a huge difference on the quality of the meat when your animals are eating this sort of stuff. Well, that's about it for this week. Thanks for joining us. I hope you enjoy your coming week. And here's a little bit of two of the boys. Where's the other one? He's over there, eating some of the cover crop.